Today, we're going to dive into a really fascinating educational model. It's all about taking the classic school play and turning it into this incredible hands-on lab for leadership and what's called systems thinking.
So think about it for a second. What if a school play was about more than just memorizing lines and hitting your marks? What if the real goal was to teach students how to manage a big, complicated, creative project completely on their own? Well, that's the central question driving this whole idea.
And this really gets to the heart of the difference. On one side, you've got the traditional model we all know. The teacher directs, and the students, well, they follow instructions. But on the other side, the teacher's role completely flips. They're not a director, they're an architect, designing the whole system. The focus isn't on a perfect, polished final show. It's on the process of getting there. It's all about empowering students to take charge.
So let's dig into that big idea, theater as a leadership lab. The instructor takes a huge step back from making every single artistic choice. Instead, they carefully design the learning environment, the architecture, if you will, that gives students the structure and the freedom to build, create, and most importantly, to lead.
You know, in this model, the final show is almost a byproduct. It's an outcome, sure, but it's not the main one. The real product is the student's own growth. This classroom is a laboratory where they learn these incredibly valuable skills like collaboration and accountability, all while working toward a real-world deadline.
Okay, so how do students actually get involved? Well, the system is built on this core idea of equity, offering 3 very different ways to participate. And what's absolutely key here is that all of them are treated as equally important primary artistic tracks.
First up, there's the performance pathway. This is the one you're probably most familiar with, right? It's all about the on-stage skills, the acting, the singing, the character work, everything that goes into telling the story to the audience.
Next is the stagecraft pathway, and I really want to emphasize this. This is not just a support crew. It is a full-on artistic and leadership track. These students learn how to tell stories using space, light, and sound, because they're the ones designing, building, and operating all the technical parts of the show.
And finally, we have the front-of-house pathway. These are the students who manage the entire audience experience. We're talking everything from marketing the show and selling tickets to running the lobby with a sense of hospitality. They are the face of the production, ensuring a professional experience from start to finish. Now, the way the school year is laid out is also really clever. It's not just, let's put on a couple of shows. It's a deliberately designed journey. It's a 2-production arc specifically created to build up those leadership skills, step by step.
You can see that arc right here. The year kicks off with building a solid foundation of skills and, just as important, trust. Then comes the first production. And after that, this is crucial, there's a dedicated time for reflection before they tackle the massive spring musical. It's a scaffolded approach where each step builds on the last.
And this is where the design really shines. The Winter Showcase is made up of multiple short one-act plays, which makes it a much lower-stakes environment. It's a safe laboratory for students to try their hand at directing, making choices, and really learning to collaborate. That experience then perfectly sets them up to apply all those new leadership skills on a much, much bigger scale for the main stage spring musical.
All right, I know what you might be thinking. Student-led. Doesn't that just lead to total chaos? So how does this whole thing actually work? Let's pull back the curtain and look at the core mechanics, the architecture, that makes this whole thing not only possible, but actually really successful.
It all starts with this simple but incredibly powerful principle. Spotlight time is not a grading category. Let that sink in for a moment. In this system, it does not matter if you have the lead role or if you helped build one part of the set. The size of your part has absolutely nothing to do with your grade. It completely disconnects ego from assessment.
So, if grades aren't based on spotlight time, then what are they based on? Well, this table tells the story. Grades come from observable, documented behaviors. Look at that. Process engagement and preparation and reliability make up a whopping 60% of a student's grade. It's all about showing up, meeting your deadlines, and supporting your team. It's about your contribution, not about your talent.
This is a game changer because it means assessment isn't subjective. A teacher isn't just deciding on a grade. The grade is literally generated by the system, based on the data from a student's actual participation. If you do the work, support the team, and reflect on your learning, the grade pretty much takes care of itself.
But of course, whenever you give students real agency, the question of safety has to be front and center. The answer here is something called the Safety Authority Clause.
It's a crystal clear boundary. Students have full artistic and production control, but the adult instructor always retains absolute and non-negotiable authority over physical safety. That means students can design and plan a set, but the teacher is supervising every single time a power tool is used. It's leadership within a non-negotiable framework of safety. So after all this, what's the real-world payoff? We've said over and over that the performance isn't the main goal. So what is that lasting product, the thing students take away from this whole experience?
This right here, this is the true outcome. The applause fades, the set gets torn down, but these skills, communication, accountability, creative problem solving, resilience, these are permanent. They're transferable to any field. Students learn how to solve messy problems, how to collaborate with all kinds of different people, and how to bounce back from failure. That's the real product.
Which leaves us with this one last thought, circling all the way back to the beginning. If we, as educators, can shift our role from being the director to being the architect, from giving instructions to providing a solid blueprint, what incredible things could our students build all on their own?